Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the RXP podcast. I'm your host, Yasser, and this is a very special episode. It is the Switch 2 episode. But before we get started, let's introduce my co-hosts, Alex.
Yeah, we're switching it up today.
Matt.
Wahoo.
And Tiffany.
Hi.
That was your opportunity. You could have been
I'm
Toad or
laughing
anything.
because I can hear you like from your phone, but for everybody else listening, she's going to sound great. But that's why I'm laughing. All right, so today we're going to be talking about how we all feel about the Switch 2. And I mean, we're just a week or two out from release, and I just want to hear what you guys all think. You guys all picked it up around release day, I assume. Let's get started. Alex, give me your first impressions of the Switch 2, how you got it. What's the experience been like?
So, I don't know if you've been on the social medias and you've seen kind of an interesting thing that happened with some people's Switch 2 orders on the launch day.
What happened?
So, what's interesting, Yasser, is that if you got a Switch 2 from Walmart, depending upon where you were in the U.S., you got something extra with your Switch 2 order.
A freebie?
Yeah.
Wait, what was it?
They gave me first of all, they gave it to me in a free Walmart shopping bag, reusable shopping bag. Thank you, Walmart. Very green, eco-friendly.
I don't like where this is going.
But more importantly, it was two simple items. You got two things in this reusable bag in addition to the Switch 2. You got a bottle of Coca-Cola.
Wait, what? Okay.
And you got a full-size can of Pringles.
Gamer fuel.
Oh, that's why you were taking a picture of the Pringles can. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
And
Alex,
so,
you also got it at like
Pringles?
7 a.m.
Hey, I was gonna get it. Why are you ruining the story here?
Dang.
So this is to my surprise of not knowing this, right? And I don't think anyone in the country / world knew Walmart would do this, right? Because the only thing, I guess apparently, I don't know. I know not all parts of the country got it. Like some people reported it's like, like Florida didn't get it, or like Colorado didn't, like very like random regions of the country,
states.
Yeah, didn't get these items. But when I woke up in the morning, the only thing I was expecting, right, is that Walmart had said, okay, for this order, we are committing to a pre-9 a.m. delivery. So all I expected was to wake up, and within, the couple hours, I normally wake up around 7 to 8. So it's going to be like, okay, I should be getting it soon. Little to my surprise, they actually committed. It was already at my doorstep delivered. Luckily I don't live in a neighborhood where there's porch pirates. It was delivered at basically around 6:40 a.m.
That's crazy.
Wow. That's incredibly early. I've never had something delivered that early.
Yeah, they legit committed to their commitment. Lo and behold.
Committed to their commitment. Love
to see it. And I didn't take the day off, but had I taken the day off, I legit would have had a whole day with the Switch 2. But that's basically kind of my first impressions, was just shout out to Walmart, delivery, shout out to that whatever system, like the drivers out there, like leaving the depot at like 5 a.m. to get these to people before 9 a.m.
We got to shout out the carrier. What was it? FedEx, UPS?
No, I don't know. It's unknown. I don't know what
it was a Walmart delivery person. Wasn't your delivery person named like Janet or something? Or like Josie?
Oh yeah.
Shout out Janet.
I know.
They did have a hold on.
Pour out some of that Coke for your homie.
Person. I need to go back.
Because Walmart
While he's looking that up.
Walmart has that delivery. Yeah, they have that delivery service where, like, if you get Walmart groceries, like, it's not through like Instacart or anything. Like Walmart.
Is that how they were delivering them?
I think so.
Through their own delivery service?
Oh
wow.
Yes.
Oh wow.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Walmart was going all out.
Yeah, I found the email. I found the delivery email. I want to shout it. So 6:40 a.m. on June 5th, Thursday. Shout out to you, Tanya.
Tanya.
Freaking Janet getting
Tanya.
all
If
the...
you can't hear this, I'm clapping right now.
I know
Shout
the
out
love.
Tanya.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, all
Actually,
you
that might be a
Janets
little loud
out
on the
there,
recording. Sorry, Alex.
forget about it.
And while
right.
I was unboxing the Switch and stuff, did I partake in my Coke and Pringles? Yes, I did.
It's nice.
And you took an incredible photo with the Pringles, by the way. Matt was right. That was a photo version of perfection.
It was
right there.
It was.
For our premium subscribers, that'll be coming into your email inbox in the next couple of days. Put it on your Christmas cards.
Calendar.
Put it on your refrigerator. It's there for you. You're welcome.
Listen,
all right.
It might even be
moving
a,
on to
a
Matt.
premium thumbnail. You never know. You never know.
Oh my God, that would be incredible.
Exclusive content.
All right, Matt.
I'll just put
Give me your
Mario's
story.
face over your face to keep your identity a secret. I 16 hours after Alex got his, I got mine. So Best Buy took it easy.
16 hours, like midnight.
I guess Geek Squad like delivered mine.
Well, you know they're night owls.
Sorry, it was 30 hours. Sorry, I did math wrong. So I didn't get it until about like noontime the next day, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like I didn't take any time off. I set like one, Maddie works at home, so she, was able to swoop it up. Didn't have to stay out in the heat or anything. Came home, didn't even unbox it because like we actually had things going on. So like I unboxed it later in the day, and then the whole process to go from Switch 1 to Switch 2 was really seamless. It was like a direct
That's good to know.
transfer. But the one thing about it is you had to have it like plugged up and ready to go. And my Switch 1 was completely dead because I had not been like it was out of the dock.
Did not plan ahead.
Honestly, that's like the most metaphor of everything is like my Nintendo Switch dead. Like it is gone. It is not charged. I'm not checking in on this thing. And then like when something's dead, like it's been dead for a while. And that's
like
no
DNR.
child services.
I know.
No CPS.
That charge takes forever. And I'm just like, man, I have time. I could be playing Mario Kart right now, but I'm waiting for the Switch 1 because it's like, it won't let you go through. It's like, listen, if you
can't just like do this later? You have to do it during the original install?
So they made it sound like the initial transfer had to be done. There were people on Reddit that was like, bet. And they went ahead and was able to do it after the fact. But I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I waited around, got that transferred. It was honestly as soon as the Switch 1 was alive, it took no time. And it was great, which I have a lot of digital library. So I was kind of banking on, having all that cross-saved and everything. So
yeah, of course.
Great. I love how much bigger everything is. I feel like I was playing with the kid's toy when I was playing with the Switch, and it's nice to have bigger buttons. It's like it's the stupidest thing alive to make it sound like, but man, a little bit bigger buttons and a little bit bigger,
goes a long way.
Joy-Cons.
Right?
Man, it goes so much longer. Definitely feels premium. One other thing that I'll shout out is actually the day before I got at the same time that Alex got his console, I got my Pro controller from Walmart. They did not give me gamer fuel for just a measly Pro controller, but that's fine. I'm allergic to Pringles, so it's fine.
That's true. That's true.
Imagine if you got Pringles.
Yeah, just Pringles, no Coke. I'd be pissed. But the Pro controller, MVP. Like that thing is.
Yeah,
it's a premium product, and I would highly recommend it to everybody. The back buttons have like saved my hand from cramping in Mario Kart World so many times. Could not recommend that.
Dude,
enough.
yeah. I really want to see more controllers just have back paddles, just like by standard, like just standard now. Like, we don't need to get a Pro controller. Like, obviously, this is Pro controller for Switch. Mm-hmm. But like PlayStation, Xbox, if you're listening, just make these part of your standard controllers at this point. This is where we're at 2025. Just make it happen.
It is.
And I like that the Nintendo's controller price point is like reasonable. You don't need to get like a $200 controller to get pack paddles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like it's not as customizable as like an Elite controller where you can have multiple different types of paddles. But just having the back buttons, honestly, it's so.
That's what I'm saying.
I really like the buttons aspect of it. I know it's not customizable.
It's like clicky,
but it feels good.
or just like it's just Yeah, it feels good.
It like fits where I need them, I guess, if that makes any
Right.
sense. So
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm looking for. Is like standard controllers should have that moving forward. Elite controllers can still exist. You can have them be super customizable, more paddles, etc. But this should be the standard
100%.
for controllers moving forward. Totally agree. Very excited that you're happy with it. All right, Tiffany, give us your
Okay.
story.
So, literally up until the day, like I pre-ordered it, and like it's like the day before June 4th and June 5th, my delivery service says that it's gonna arrive on June 11th, and so I
Okay.
had no. Like, I was like, it is what it is. It's fine. I have another game I'm playing anyway.
I'm
on
only
PlayStation.
crying for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, lo and behold, on Friday, June 6th, I suddenly get an update that it's going to arrive today. So I get my Switch 2 in the afternoon on Friday, which was awesome. However, kind of like Matt, I really didn't even bother doing anything with it until Saturday morning. Well, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
Matt, you did it like late Friday, but I waited until Saturday morning. I woke up first in the house. Alex was still having dreams and sleeping, and I transferred all my stuff and got my Switch up and running. And I agree with Matt. Very seamless. My Switch one was fine. Like, it wasn't dead. She was working, so I got it all set up, and it was very easy. It's kind of a heavy boy. I'm not gonna lie.
I would imagine. Yeah,
sc-
it's
the
not
sc-
much thinner, it's just bigger. So I'd imagine it's a little heavier.
Yes. So I really like the screen size. Like, that
Yeah.
is, I love it because I tested around some other games, like old games on it. But like, I need to like start lifting weights or something. Like, I just can't. I need a.
This is like the wake up call that Tiffany's needed.
Yeah, it's like I need a lap cushion.
Weight
To, like-
training to wield the Switch 2.
Yeah. I need like a lap cushion to like. I can't hold this thing up for very long
Without getting like fatigued.
Yes.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And honestly, I'm trying to like think about the Portal, the PlayStation Portal versus the Switch. I think the Switch 2 is a little bit heavier. Am I?
Do you agree with that,
I think
Matt?
so. Yeah, I actually agree with that.
You don't think it's not just like because of the way you hold it, where you have like a real like place for your
Grip
palms?
that
on it?
might
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
the weight though is like within your palms for the Switch 2
Yeah.
in a weird way that like
Okay.
I don't know what to say, but like the palms or like the I don't know, the controller
Viewers,
part of
or
the
listeners,
portal.
he's like motioning, so you can't see this. But
Well,
Yeah, that's
I
why
think
I'm
it's
laughing.
The
Also, the
controller part of the
portal
portal
like the
seems hollow in a weird way.
Okay.
yeah. But I also feel like the screen. Wait. Like the Portal screen feels lighter than the Switch's screen.
It's thin,
That's where
and
like
there's
all
nothing
the,
to
like,
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the Switch 2
Interesting.
is like to me is like significantly heavier than the Portal. And
Yeah.
listen, ever since like this year, I feel like February of this year, I've been a Portal gal.
Oh, it's so
Like-
good. It's so good.
Yeah.
We're very like close. We're besties.
Inseparable.
Inseparable, if you will. Yes. And so the Switch 2's rolling up in here, and I'm like, damn, you're thick. And I'm just like, oh, I
You're a
need
thick
to
boy.
like-
Girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But listen, I was very pleased to have gotten it early, but I'm going to be real honest with you guys. I played that thing for an hour that first weekend, like June 6th and 7th,
Yeah.
and I didn't touch it again for a while.
Just an hour.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
Yasser. I played.
This is the
Well,
Nintendo girl.
Okay, for
Tiffany.
real though. Okay, can I be honest though? Alex booted up, so he got his Switch the day before, and I played every race with him that evening. So
So
like
that's over an hour.
that is over. So, but on Alex's Switch, we went through every cup. But
Oh,
like,
okay. So you weren't
from-
counting the hours that you were playing on his Switch.
correct. I was not counting those out. My
Come on,
personal
okay.
out. Yeah, I played for more.
That's
but
still
my
Switch 2 hours.
Yeah,
Okay,
count.
the
fine.
use case is a little slightly different though in the context there. But like before I get into that, I do want to comment because it connects both Tiffany's perspective and Matt's perspective, where I don't have a Switch 2 Pro controller, but on the plus
Uh-huh.
side, all Switch One accessories
Yes.
work with the Switch
Right.
2.
Yep.
So I just paired my Switch 1 Pro controller, and that works perfectly fine. You don't have
Yeah.
the back buttons though, so that's the only difference.
Right.
And no game chat button. But
Oh, sheesh.
the,
Yeah.
yeah, the fact that
Rip.
he has the Pro controller and the fact that Tiffany was complaining about the weight distribution, it is a thing
Yeah.
for me and kind of my first impressions of like the actual physicality of the Switch is that
hmm
one, the Joy-Cons are still bad. Despite them being bigger, I still think they're bad controllers. I like how they connect. Like I like
Do you
the
mean when they're
magnetic
connected
aspect.
or when you're trying to use them like as controllers while you're on the TV?
I think from a usability perspective, like when you use a controller, and maybe it's not fair to compare it to a DualSense or even just a traditional
Definitely not.
Xbox One controller, but it is
Yeah.
that thing of like, if this is the controller your console comes with, and it
Yeah.
feels this, at least to me, poorly to use, like it feels bad, right? Like I know there's an option to get a controller that feels better, but then that feels like they're price gouging me, right? To be like, hey, if you don't want this, here's another paid option for a better
Well, just to be clear
experience.
though, you are playing this docked, right? This is how you're playing the Switch.
No, so
Switch 2,
so
sorry.
all of like 90% of my gameplay so far with the Switch 2 has been handheld.
Oh. Well, then I don't
wow.
understand. Like, why would you, like, how would you play handheld if you're gonna use like a real controller?
Right.
Or are
which
you
would-
asking for the actual Joy-Cons that clip in to have like actual grips like the Portal?
Yes, like I think
Okay.
like what I wish Nintendo did
Or
with
the
these
Steam Deck.
Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
is that they added more curvature to it because I like it.
I see.
You know, Matt was pointing out right with like how you hold it in your hands. It feels like the
Yeah.
pressure is really on the palms, whereas like for some reason on the Portal, like the distribution with like your other fingers kind of gripping it, right? Like it's easier to
More
kind
hand
of
motions, folks.
Yeah, distribute the weight across your whole hand than kind of putting it at one point. So I think the fatigue sets in more quickly because of that.
Yeah.
And so I just think there
Okay.
could have been a slight redesign. And obviously, I know this is meant for portability, it's meant for accessibility, right? Like children need to be able to hold this thing. And so there probably wasn't a big push to like make it something super fancy, kind of like the Steam Deck, right? Add more curves to it, add like all those buttons on it. Because right, even the Joy-Cons themselves don't have those back buttons. You know, those are only on the
Sure.
Pro controller. So there is like
Yeah.
that degree of like it's still suitable, but I still complain. You know, I didn't like the Joy-Cons. Like the only thing I like about the Joy-Cons is that obviously when you play it docked or on tabletop mode, I really like being able to kind of like dual wield like, you know, Wiimotes, one in each hand. Like I actually prefer
Yeah.
that.
It's like comfortable,
gameplay.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually super
In a way.
natural. Like
it's
when
it's different,
Tiffany-
but it's comfortable.
Yeah, when Tiffany and I were doing the Grand Prix Cups, that's how I raced the whole time. I didn't like
Yeah.
put it into the grip. I literally just held one
Right.
in each hand and was like holding them at my side, you know,
Interesting.
fully relaxed. And it was so
Now, how did
usable,
you
so
do?
That was great.
Can I ask that? Did you play well while you were doing that?
Yes.
I'll say I won every cup except one
Oh my
while
god.
playing with
Nice.
Tiffany. And obviously Tiffany was
You
the
did
only
play
one to
pretty well.
like compete with me, so yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
those
before we
CPUs.
move on, I have to at least give my story. As the listeners probably could already tell from the way that I'm asking these questions, the way that I'm kind of answering some of them, I don't have a Switch 2. And so I'm gonna just throw that out there as like, here's why. I did think about it. I'm not gonna lie, multiple times before it came out on release. I even like I have a Target pretty close to where I live, as Tiffany knows, and I like just scoped it out because I was just there. I was around at 8 a.m. just like to see what it's like. There was already 50 people lining up. I was like, oh,
Whoa.
interesting. They have stock.
Dang.
Interesting. Where I could have like lined up if I wanted to.
Right.
But like ultimately, I was like, I don't know because I don't play my Switch 1 enough. So I thought I would just wait for reviews to come out, see what that's like, see what stock's like, and then kind of take it from there. So honestly, like this pod is part of that. Just like seeing what you guys think. how much you're playing it, what you guys think of the console is definitely helping me already. So I appreciate that. All right. Just wanted to get that out of the way. So let's move on to what you guys have been playing. Like, tell me more about the experience with the Switch 2 and how it differs. Have you guys been playing just Mario Kart World? Are you playing some of your original titles? Tiffany, it looks like you're ready to roll. You can go first.
Okay, so I need to just get this out of the way before everyone flames me. I've played Mario Kart World for like maybe 2 hours now on my Switch.
Incredible.
I've done none of the free roam. Just try to get through the cups. I unlocked Rainbow
Yeah.
Road, but I did not like
Nice.
complete that. But the game that I've been playing is Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Let's
So-
go. The Switch 2 exclusive.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
so this game
Wait, is
came
this
out-
Switch 2 exclusive?
No, it's not.
Okay, I just had to be sure.
Also available on Switch 1.
Yeah, also available on
Okay.
Switch. This game came out in like January or February of this year. It was in like a early Nintendo Direct. I was like, oh, I want to buy that game. And then I saw that it was $60. I'm like, I'm not buying that game. That's too much money for a Hello Kitty game. And then I don't know what I was smoking, but when I looked through the eShop, because I also wanted to look through the eShop and see how it was laid out now on the Switch 2 and everything. Mostly the same. A couple new tabs that might help.
I heard
me
it's a little
filter
better.
out.
I don't
It's a-
remember where I got the info.
It's a little bit better. Like there's a couple like tabs that are better, like more focused, like great deals or like what's popular. I mean, there are elements that are different, but it's still mostly the same. But I was like scrolling through the eShop and the Hello Kitty game popped up, and then I realized apparently the base game is $40, but the deluxe edition was $60. And that's where I was like, oh, well,
Hold on.
yeah, I was like, hold up a minute. I'll spend $40 on a Hello Kitty game, even though I could have just waited for as longer. But my rationale for it is, you guys, I've played over 100 hours on the PlayStation Portal in the last like 4 weeks playing Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time. And that game really hit a spot for me. And so I was slowly going to the ends of that game, like finishing it up. And I wanted another game where I could do, like, it's an Animal Crossing, like, there are elements of Fantasy Life I that was Animal Crossing. And so Hello Kitty Island Adventure is Animal Crossing adjacent also. So that's why I was like, well, now that I'm almost done with that game, I want a new Animal Crossing like. And so
With
Yeah.
can I
literal
ask something real quick?
yes.
So you said that you weren't like immediately in love with the form factor of the Switch 2 because it's heavier, it's bigger, and in
Yes.
comparison to the Portal that you've gotten used to. What
Yes.
made you get it on the Switch 2 versus just getting it on PlayStation so you can play on the Portal? Like, did you do it because
not
like you
on
just
the
wanted to
PlayStation.
try the Switch 2, or like, oh, it's not on PlayStation?
Oh.
Yes,
Okay,
Hello
well, that
Kitty
makes it
Island
easy.
Adventure is like Switch exclusive. The OG iteration of Hello Kitty Island Adventure is actually Apple Arcade. So this
Okay.
is straight up a mobile game that they ported to the
I see.
Switch. And y'all, there are elements of a mobile game in it. There's literal things
Like
that
gotcha.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say gotcha, but there is time-gated activities. Like you literally
Okay.
can't progress the story until the next day.
That's like
Sure,
Animal
okay.
Crossing, though, right?
Like, yes, it is like Animal Crossing, but I feel like this is more egregious because it's like the way that you progress is that you increase your friendship levels with each of the Sanrio characters, and the only way you can increase your friendship levels is by giving them gifts, and you could literally only give them 3 gifts a day. And in the beginning, the gifts that you give, they don't love them as much as there are things that they love more that can increase their friendship level even higher with just one gift that you don't get till later, right?
So
like, yes.
without this becoming like a game review,
Yeah.
how is the experience been on the Switch 2? Like, have you enjoyed playing it on the Switch 2? Has it been a good experience?
Yes, the screen is so big. I can see all the pixels, even though there's not many pixels, with Hello Kitty Adventure. But I really like playing. Like the screen is just so big, like,
Yeah.
and I really
Do you like the screen?
that-
Like, is it?
I love
Has
the
it been
screen.
enjoyable? Like in comparison to the
Yes.
Portal, for example.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're comparable. I think they're comparable.
Yeah. Would you say like
Just-
they're pretty much interchangeable? Other than the
Yeah, but
size, maybe.
Yeah, other than the size, I think they're pretty much interchangeable.
Okay.
It gets heavy though. Like, so that's one nice thing about this
Yeah.
Hello Kitty game is like you only play for like 2-3 hours a day, and then you just like stop because you can't do anything else. So like that's like manageable for me. I just like how like it's like this catch-22 of I like how big the Switch is, but I don't like how heavy the Switch is. That's
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
Overall though, like I'm still getting used to like the buttons because the Switch 1, the power button is on the right and the volume is on the right, I think, but the Switch 2, the button and the volume is on the left.
Yeah, the habits.
The fact that there is a USB-C port at the top, life-changing. Life-changing.
And bottom. Yeah.
And bottom. But I can lie down and like
Incredible.
hold
And charge.
And yeah, but I need you to
2025, baby.
I need you to paint the picture of like I'm charging up top and not at the bottom because because I'm like my hands are like dropping towards my
maniacs
chest.
charge via the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. That's So like overall, very much enjoy. Also, I started a family plan because Alex was like, I need to be on your family plan. You need to get the family plan so I can be on it. And I was like, okay, stop harassing me. And then fortuitously, I had like my renewal was actually coming up in June. And so I ended up getting a family plan.
Did you have an individual before that?
Correct. I just had an individual.
Okay.
And I got
Alex
the
was
family
on a family plan before, right?
Yes, he was on a family plan with some homies, but he was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on another like.
Why'd you want to get out of that
family
family plan?
yeah, found family plan. Yasser, this is why I'm about to explain. The virtual game card sharing
For sharing, okay.
for family plans.
You have to be in the family plan.
You have to be in the family plan, and you have to physically be together. Like
Really?
Yes. In order to share a virtual game card, your switches need to be like Bluetooth
On the same Wi-Fi?
or in the same room. I think
No, it's like NFC.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I got a family plan. I initiated it. I think I had like a week left of my individual membership, but I was like, whatever. I'm just gonna start it now because to be honest, I wasn't sure.
What a waste.
This is for listeners. I didn't know if like the family plan would start after your individual membership would stop, but no.
Probably
family plan,
overtakes it, right?
Yeah, it initiates immediately.
Yeah.
So I got it. I did the virtual game card. I shared this game called Wild Frost with Alex because it was digital. I had a digital copy of this game, and Alex wanted to check it out. So we did it pretty seamless, I'm going to be honest. And so he can borrow the game for 2 weeks.
That's
2
pretty
weeks,
sweet.
okay. But it's a one-time thing, or can he like borrow it again for 2 weeks after?
He
if
can
you guys are
borrow it
together?
again. He can borrow it again for 2 weeks.
I see. Okay, so it's like a library thing.
Yes.
He's like loaning it out, or you're loaning it out.
I'm loaning,
Interesting.
and I cannot play it on my console.
You can't play it. Okay.
No, I loaned.
Sorry,
it to
this is
him.
all like new information. I didn't really like read into this.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I guess this is bleeding into kind of like what I've been playing because it connects directly with this.
Yeah.
Okay,
Little
let's
bit.
So
relax.
she's kind of like
Can you wrap
she's
it up?
telling my story again.
Oh my god, you need to relax. but-
Spoilers.
Well,
But,
that's
like,
why I was asking Alex the family thing is so he could like chime in since it's part of his story too.
But when I tried to initiate Wild Frost, like out of curiosity, it was like you've lent out this game. You need to retrieve it if you
I
want
see.
to play it. Yeah. So that's
Interesting.
That's my time
Could
to
you-
Switch.
Could you have retrieved it and kicked him off of it in the moment?
Maybe it seems like
she didn't
I
try
could've.
it. Yeah.
It seems like I
Brutal.
could have
Okay.
done that.
Yeah,
So like there
we
was
need
an
to test that
option
later for science.
when you tried it and it said you've loaned it out that like you can say, was there a button that says like I just want it back, I want to play, or
I think it was like kind of like take it back or something. Like I
see.
think
Okay.
I think there was something like that.
something like fuck that guy? Yeah.
That's
So so that's really interesting though. Like it's an interesting system. It sounds like, but it's also kind of weird that you can't just do it with a friend that comes over. I thought it would be restricted to you being close by, but I didn't realize that you had to be on the same family plan. That seems like very restrictive, where you're not really going to use this very often.
Yeah, you had to like pick when it was like, oh, I'm gonna lend the game. It literally was like which family member. Like it listed him, and it was like is this the guy you want to share it with, the family member? And I was like, yep,
Okay. Is it just you two in the family plan right now?
correct. Yes.
Okay. So if he was like too far away, would he still be listed, but you can't connect because he's too far?
Yes.
I guess you probably haven't tried that yet. Okay.
No, I think that's it. I think I could pick him, and
Okay,
they're like,
okay.
okay, get your switches together, and it's like,
I see.
if I couldn't get it together, then he can't get it.
One last question
All
for
right.
science.
Yeah.
If you lend it to him, it like requires you guys being together, but can then Alex take a trip across the country and still play that lend game for 2 weeks? Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
Does he have
Yeah.
to be always online though?
oh.
Yeah, no, I know with the most recent Switch 1 update, this is actually something that's applicable on Switch 1 as well currently. So you can see this, Yasser, if you boot up the Switch 1. But I believe this was their workaround to, because right now, before this firmware update and like the system that they implemented with the Switch 2, the way you would game share is kind of like PlayStation, where if you are logged in or you set like one device as your primary device, like right, anyone on that console could play your library of games, right, as long as they downloaded it like through your account onto there and then swapped to their account. And so this firmware update and this virtual game card system replaces that, where they wanted to, I guess, still encourage like game sharing, and in this case specifically within a family, but it overrides that system. So that's no longer a possibility, where it's like a little bit more free form. But yeah, basically when you lent out the game, the other person can play it, and it's really no hold, like I think no like holds bar really, like there's no limitations where I need to be online or anything. It's like my system has there's a separate section on the Switch 2 that says virtual game like cards, and it shows like, oh, this is in the borrowed status, and literally it has the date and time at which it will return back to the owner, so essentially like remove it from my console. There is an option for me to give it up before then, because you borrow things for 2 weeks at a time. So you can give it up earlier than that in case, you're done with it. But the Wild Frost game that I borrowed from Tiffany was more so a test, because it was a game that she had bought on Switch earlier, like a couple of years ago, and it was something, I'd be into it, or I would be interested. And it's a roguelike deck building card game. And so I'm like, okay, it's similar to Slay the Spire. I want to try it out. I was just lazy, getting around to playing with it. It's on other platforms. I'm like, maybe it's going to come to PlayStation. Maybe I can get trophies. Here we are, June 2025, still no PlayStation port, so I just gave up on that dream. It is on Steam, though, at least, in case you want to check it out there. But yeah, so I thought this was a great way to, I guess, take advantage of this system and just to see how it works. As Tiffany mentioned, it's super simple. You initiate the transfer, like the loaning of the game. It takes about 5 seconds of you being near each other, and then it verifies it, and then I start downloading the game, and then I have it ready to go. Playing the game itself, it is very much like Slay the Spire. I don't really have much else to say about it. I've cleared one, what you would say, run of it. So I've successfully beat it once, quote unquote. Not much else to note about it. So if you've played Slay the Spire, you understand all the mechanics, right? There's 3 classes. You're building your deck as you go along. There's branching pathways, so you can kind of choose like where you're heading towards, what kind of rewards you want to get. Overall, I'd say it's a very nice light version of a deck builder, but I wouldn't really put it that high above anything else, just because I'm like, this was fine. Like, I'm glad, not to say I'm glad I didn't buy it, but it's like a very like smooth experience that isn't like, wow, this is like the next Slay the Spire, that type of thing. Like it's not very genre defining in that aspect, but great use of that system. And in terms of other things I've played, with Tiffany, I cleared all the cups. I've cleared one cup of Rally Tour in Mario Kart World, and I have dipped into the free roam. And I mean, I don't want to sound like the negative Nancy, but it is that thing where I want to say I am slightly disappointed in Mario Kart World. I know they really hyped it up, right? And obviously, this is a first for the franchise. Actually, building a like world map where all of the tracks are integrated into it. It's a very daunting feat, right? Like something like this, where you think about a lot of other games, the transition to having this kind of one location and then building the roads into it to make it interesting to race in is very difficult. And there's a lot of franchises that don't even try, right? Like obviously stuff like the sim racers, being realistic, they're not, you're not driving through like downtown DC, right? Like you're only driving on licensed like tracks. And so this being Mario Kart's, first attempt at it, I'd say it's a very good attempt. But I think my biggest criticism of it is that I feel like a lot of the games that do take advantage of this open world style, and most notably, I guess I have to shout it out, the Forza Horizon series. I
Yes, sir.
really want to play these open world racers because normally the vistas are gorgeous, right? Like they take pride, like these art teams are doing such a good job in making a beautiful world I want to drive in. And it is what it is. Like Mario Kart World, it is very bland. Like it's not super interesting to just drive around in besides the races. Like the activities are fine, but I think it's that
Sure.
thing of it doesn't reach the heights that other open world racers get to, especially because they look so good. And since this is missing that look factor, I think it just falls a little bit short. So I think overall, the main gimmick for me at least kind of missed the mark, unfortunately. But that's kind of been
Interesting.
the main two games I've played, and then I've played a little bit of Picross just to see how it is. It's fine, I think overall the Switch runs very well. Like it's very easy to swap between games. The UI doesn't lag that much. The eShop is better, like marginally, but better than the Switch One eShop. So
Yeah.
overall, my software experience has been a good time so far.
So I want to hear more about this Mario Kart World, like performance and just like the game in general. One quick thing I will say is I saw online that you do need to be online at least once per day for game sharing, just so I can check your license. I don't know when exactly that occurs, but I guess I mean, to me that makes sense because if Tiffany takes it away, your Switch won't realize that unless it's somehow connecting online at some point. So
Oh,
I
that makes
figured something
sense.
like that was in place, but it doesn't seem like you need to be online all the time, at least, like you were
That's
saying,
nice.
which is nice.
Oh, so I just
All
need
right,
like a
Matt.
little check
So
in.
yeah, I guess so. So Matt, are you playing Mario Kart World? What's been your perspective? What else have you been playing?
Yeah, I have been playing quite a bit of Mario Kart World. I will say before I get into Mario
Really?
Kart World,
Yeah.
eShop for Nintendo Switch, honestly, it's
Uh-huh.
awful. For Nintendo Switch 2, it's now manageable.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, let's go negativity.
no, Nintendo Switch 2's
Oh, you say
got
the
it.
first
Yeah, the first one
originally the
just
eShop.
sucked.
Yeah.
And like now it's like
Yeah.
back to a standard. It's still like I still enjoy like Xbox and PlayStation Store better. That's always been the case. But at least now it's like on an even playing field. It doesn't take freaking 30 minutes to
Yeah.
log into the eShop. Okay, that's done. The other thing that's really positive for family plans, if you guys have seen or not, with the family plan, you can get the Nintendo Switch 2 upgrades for Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom for free instead of having
Oh,
to do
really?
$10. So
Nice.
it will take your money though. When you go to the shop, it'll say $10 and you can pay that $10 and they'll be like, okay, but you could easily just download
Oh,
it with the,
if you don't realize.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I have Tears of
Interesting.
the Kingdom downloaded. I've not played it because I have really just been playing Mario Kart World. That's the only thing that I've played this entire time. I have logged about 27 hours of Mario Kart World.
Wow.
That's a lot.
I have unlocked all the costumes in free roam. I've unlocked probably I think like 150 of the P switches, a lot of the medallions, a lot of the like mystery blocks. I have like gone through a lot.
This doesn't
of free
surprise me
roam.
at all.
No,
Like
no. This is
when Forza Horizon 5 came out, you're the first person who got like all the achievements finished within like the first month or two.
this is like my MO. I just can't help myself. Played through Grand Prix. I've gotten 3 stars on all the Grand Prix. I am one knockout tour away from getting 3 stars. I still have only 2 stars for it. Knockout Tour is like the new hotness, and let me tell you,
Right.
it has taken us by storm, and that's right, it's us, because I have not been playing alone. Maddie and I have been playing every night
Oh, really?
for an hour or two every night for the past like week. Like,
That's awesome.
Nice.
the reason I don't have my Switch with me right now is because she's downstairs playing. Like,
What? No way.
loves Mario Kart. Like,
Whoa.
and she's not a gamer, but she has absolutely like taken to it, and it is just so much fun. Like, it is like that is definitely adding to my enjoyment. It is a much higher rank because I'm just enjoying playing each night and just like working through it and getting mad at NPCs, getting blue shelled and like cursing at the TV together. It's fun.
Move the blue shell.
I will say a lot of the criticism that Alex has is true. Like, it is kind of barren. It does feel like the beginning of something. And I think as of right now, me personally, like I'm happy to rate it. And I have it rated as like an 8 out of 10. I think it's a great game. I think even a disappointing Mario Kart is still a great game. Like, it is still fun to play. Knockout Tour is awesome. It is where you start off with 24 players, and each lap you can get eliminated if you don't meet a certain threshold. Like, if you're not in the top 16, top 8, top 4, and then winning. And that's so addictive. It is so much fun.
That does sound like fun.
It is a new spin to kind of like the Mario Kart formula, and it is fantastic. I will say though, I can see that this will be a 10 out of 10 game eventually. I just don't think it's there yet. But once they start adding DLCs, once they're adding like different maps, I think this is going to kind of fill out and be everything that we want it to be. But I think that's going to take time. Like, I think it's going to be one of those like 4 or 5 years. They're still going to be adding things to this. So love my time with Mario Kart World.
So do we think that DLC is going to flesh out the open world as well? Is that the plan from what they've shared?
They've not really shared anything, and that's the thing.
Okay.
The part that is kind of Mario Kart World is Knockout Tour. That is where the courses connect to each other, and that's how you're going from one course to the next for a Knockout Tour. So usually Knockout Tour is like 4 or 5 tracks together, and you're like hitting the highways in between them. So if they add a DLC track, realistically, that either needs to be its own island, or they have to add in additional maps in the spaces, like in the like in between spaces. So I'm excited to see what they do with that. I know that they've got some DLC planned. Today, Donkey Kong Bonanza had a direct, and it looks great. Donkey Kong looks great. There's Baby Pauline, and I'm like, the first thing I thought about was, I can't wait for Baby Pauline to be a DLC character. And Donkey Kong to get more outfits, because he only has 1 outfit. Mario has 10 outfits.
What?
And Donkey Kong,
What?
sorry,
Oh my gosh.
Donkey Kong has 1 alternate outfit, so he has 2 total outfits: his standard and then like
Crazy.
a BMX outfit.
The
And I'm like,
disrespect.
this is
Yeah, for real.
ridiculous. He's like one of the most popular people. And now seeing Bonanza, like where they're showing how many outfits are in this game, I'm like, oh, that's why there's only 1 right now. Like, I feel in my bones in July when Bonanza comes out, they're going to have like one of the first DLCs, and it may even be free. It's just like, hey, check it out.
There's
Donkey Kong has more
skins,
things going on. And I think that's what's going to make Mario Kart World a 10 out of 10 experience, because I feel like once they start delving into their first party, they're always going to bring it back to Mario Kart. That's what I think. This is kind of like Nintendo Switch 2's Smash Ultimate, where like there's always some announcement with every direct.
Move aside, cow. Here comes Zebra Kong.
That's right.
Oh my god. Matt, have you and Maddie been playing the Knockout Tour online, or
No.
are you playing Knockout Tour?
I was going to ask that too.
Just
Okay.
against bots. I will say there are some gripes. I've been playing with a friend of mine from work online, and if you join online, you can only play against bots. So if I start a match, we can't
Oh.
buddy up and go against online people. We have to be in bots. There are simple things like that.
Okay. So you can only do private matches, basically, is what
Exactly.
you're saying, with your friends.
And it's things like that I'm like, okay, this is still Nintendo. They're
That's
still
lame.
making, like, they still don't understand
Yeah.
the internet. That, like, those things are frustrating, and it like does take the wind out of your sails.
Does it support 24-player online lobbies? Like, can you do a full knockout at least as a private match?
Yeah, you can do 24.
With 23 other people that you know?
Oh, I don't. Well, I
Is
don't.
that what you're asking?
Who knows about
That's
that?
a lot of people. That's a
'Cause
lot
if
of
you can
I don't have that
only
many
do
friends.
a
I don't even-
knockout with private
Yeah.
parties, then it's like, well, then I need to find 23 people to do a custom knockout match.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
That'd be insane, though.
Yeah.
Interesting. So another thing that you brought up, Matt, that I'm curious to hear what Alex and Tiffany think, because it's been something that I've heard mentioned in like reviews and just like impressions in general. And some people like it, some people feel like it's kind of useless. So, and what I'm talking about is those highway sections in between races. What do you guys think about that? Does it really add to the experience because it feels kind of seamless between the races? Or do you feel like it's um, just kind of an extra thing that takes time that you could just be like loading into the next race instead? What do you guys think?
It's
I don't
bland.
mind it.
Okay, well there you go. You got both both ends of the spectrum right there.
Yeah,
All right, Alex first. Go ahead.
It's
What
mostly
do you
because
think?
for me, and Matt mentioned it too, and when I was talking about the kind of Horizon comparison before, it's the thing of them making some of the tracks have those long highway parts, but I think the emphasis of those tracks was to show how the other parts or how the other tracks are connected to each other. I feel like it is a little boring. The way they've tried to spice it up is while you're driving on the highways, they have a lot of like interactable things. So like there's a lot of trailer trucks with ramps. You get an occasional truck driving by that drops mushrooms, so you can get a speed boost. There's another truck that has a piranha plant on it that'll shoot out, try to snap at you when you drive by it. Fireballs, like they add things to the highway sections to give you some sense of you're not just driving kind of on this very straight
Throughway.
throughway. But I think it's still the thing of they probably would have been better off of just having the main tracks like in the world and then having roads connecting them, but not necessarily making those roads like part of the tracks, like to show that. Like I feel like the decision to emphasize like this is a connected world was more of a detriment because those tracks ended up not being as interesting as they could be if they just had them like segmented and like maybe did something else.
Sure. All right, Tiffany, what
Yeah.
do you think?
I didn't mind it. I honestly just a section where you just drive on it, and I was like, okay. Because here's another thing: I don't really like pick individual tracks to play. You know what I mean? Like I just
Yeah.
go through a cup, and if a cup has that track, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna drive on it.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Matt, since I'll bring it back to you since I kind of like brought up the point from what you said. Do you ever like unlock things during this section, or is it really just for like fun and then you just get to the race? And then does getting there faster affect your place in the next track, or does it not matter in that sense either?
So like it's only really affecting Knockout Tour. So like the Grand Prix is still
Okay.
like the classic. You have 3 laps, 3 to 5 laps depending upon the size, and then once you're done, you'll basically get transported to the next Grand Prix location. Knockout Tour though, you might do 1 lap in an area, and then you're going to be hitting mostly the highways that are connecting the things. So you do get like you're actually racing, and honestly, that's the part
I see.
that like makes or breaks whether or not you're going to make the next cut. What I will say that they've tried to combat this with, and I think they've done pretty successful with the Knockout Tour, is that you're always feeling like there's action, even if there's not action in a typical course, and this is like a bland highway. The items are crazy. The items are overpowered, and the items, you can be in 24th place and barely any road before the next checkpoint. You get a couple items, you can easily be in the top 5 leading into the next checkpoint. Like it is, you can't really stay comfortable even if you're like first or second place, because the item distribution is kind of keeps everything a little bit in balance. So for me, like some of the most
Yeah.
laugh out loud instances at night have been on those like empty highways where I'm like in first place and Maddie's in second place, and I have a green shell, and I said, "Hey, can you hold on to this for me?" And I like throw it back and it hits her. Like it just kills me. Like these are like, I think you're kind of like making your own fun with them. But if you're in the pack, like being first and second and being a little bit away from the rest of the pack is fine. But when you're like third to eighth place and there are so many items happening, it is
just coming
the
your
most
way.
stressful thing in the world. The beginning of every match that's 24 people, it's like, this is like Vietnam. Like there's like gunfire in the distance. It's like, what is happening? Everybody has a weapon except for you. Like you get coins and everybody else has like a hand grenade, and you're like, this is awful. So I think they know how to bring the fun, and you know, I would love to see them kind of like expand that and, you know, bring in other fan favorites for items too. So I'm overall positive because I think Knockout Tour is really the secret sauce. If you look at what people are engaged in, Grand Prix, no one's really talking about them. Like it's all Knockout Tour. Even online, like Knockout Tour is kind of where it's at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think like what you were saying about the items and how they're overpowered. I mean, that's kind of like how Mario Kart is in general. Like that's the style of play, that's the style of racer that it is, and that's what makes it such a great like LAN party slash in-person party game, where you're just like yelling and laughing and having a good time. But so I think that kind of answers my question about the highways, because it sounded like from Alex and Tiffany's perspective, you guys are not typically doing the knockout. You're doing more like the tours. Is that right? Is that why it feels like we're having different opinions? Or do you feel like even a knockout, you still feel like you maintain those kind of opinions about the highway sections?
I have not played Knockout Tour yet at all, and to be honest, hearing Matt talk about it makes me want to boot it up. Like, I think after we finish recording,
how have you guys not played together yet? Is another question. Like, I don't understand.
That, like I said,
Listen,
Yasser, I've
here's
been
the thing,
playing Hello Kitty
Yasser.
Island Adventure.
She's only been here like online for a little bit. Every time I'm like, no one's. Oh, Alex and Tiffany are playing. My friend from work's playing. One of our residents is playing. And then I look and I boot up like my PlayStation app and I see both of them playing Fantasy Life, and I'm like, shame. Does the Nintendo Switch mean nothing to you?
Matt putting us on blast here. Hey, we put in our due diligence. I'll say this. I think part of my minimal engagement with the Switch 2 is also just an evidence of, at least Mario Kart World being the only like Switch 2 game out, technically like Switch 2 exclusive game out
Launch
right now.
game, yeah.
Yeah. That unfortunately it just didn't grab me as much as I thought it would. And I think it just might be due to the design overall. Not to say the racing isn't great. Like the racing's still great. Like Mario Kart as a kart racer is unparalleled. Like as much as Sega wants to try with their Sonic racing games,
It does look good.
Like yeah, like they typically are still like, but this isn't Mario Kart. You know, it's always like that. And so I don't fault it at all for being like still the best kart racer, because it's like, yeah, it's not great, but as Matt said, like even the worst Mario Kart is still like an 8 out of 10. You know, it's like you can't
still
go
top
wrong
tier
with it.
kart racing game, yeah.
And like for me, it's just me, I would say I'm probably the number one racer on this podcast. It's probably like
100%,
bar
easily,
none. Yeah. And it just wasn't enough to hold me to be like, I am logging in every day to play this every night for an hour, which is a surprise, right? Because it's like, I thought I would, but then, you know, we're just in that age where there's just something else that grabs the attention more. And so that's where you'll find me. Now that that's done, you know, maybe I'll be back to the Switch 2. And I do want to put more time into it, especially maybe some of the older games, just to see how they feel running on the more powerful hardware. And so
like games that you've already beaten, or games that you like would want to revisit because of the Switch 2 like upgrades?
Like games from Switch 1, just to see like how they are, you know, not like seriously replay these games, but just to check in. Be like, you know, I've seen the videos of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, but does it actually run like that on the Switch 2? Like I need to see it with my own eyes. Right?
Oh, I actually haven't seen it. Does anyone have a good video of that? Like I've been waiting for Digital Foundry. I'm not sure if they've released anything yet. Where did you see that?
I've seen clips Yasser. It looks like so much better. And to be
It
honest,
does?
like
Okay.
I never finished Scarlet and Violet, and to be honest, like it makes me want to
Want
consider.
to go back to it? Yeah.
Yes.
I see.
Yep.
I see. Yeah, I mean that's what you guys are saying, or at least partly with what you guys are saying as far as like Mario Kart being the main launch game is partly the reason why I felt comfortable waiting too. Is because for me, like Mario Kart is not a system seller, so I've been waiting to see like what does Pokemon ZA look like, what does the upgrades look like for the games that I haven't played on Switch yet, to maybe
Cyberpunk.
convince me to get one. Um, and so and also just like hear what people are saying like you guys have been talking about like what's the form factor feel like, does the display look nice, funny, the thing that I hear the most out of people that you guys have not mentioned at all is just like how addicting the magnetic like attachments are. Do you guys like that, or do you guys feel like it's whatever, they're magnets, they're cool, but like it doesn't change my experience with the Switch at all?
I've
It's
never.
superior. It's
Oh my.
superior.
Oh my god. I've never, the moment I set up my Switch and attach them, I've never taken them off. Like
Yeah.
I've yet to remove them for any reason.
I would want to detach them just so I could attach them again, like within the
Yeah.
second.
I've seen people talk about
Just
how
to hear the
that's
click again.
yeah, that people are like loving. They're like the game that everyone else is playing, and it's like Mario Kart World, and it's like the game I'm playing, and it's them like detaching and retaching.
Alex, you said you liked them too.
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't want to admit to it, but I have detached them and reattached them just for the funsies of it.
There we go.
I'll say from a design perspective, they're a lot better than the Rails system on the Switch One, right? Because it's just so much.
Yeah, they're not as
more
loose, right?
Yeah, it's more intuitive to just like boom, you slap them on, and the magnet pretty much holds them. Like you do not need to worry about these things falling off.
Yeah.
The only slight downside with the magnet is because they attach magnetically, they have designed the Joy-Cons to sit in like attached to the main console with a slight kind of warping to them in handheld mode. So if you like kind of move them a little bit, they do wobble, but that is intentional because right, they don't want the connector which connects the Joy-Cons to the main unit to break. So they've designed it with
Interesting.
that slight warping intentionally. So that's the thing I've noticed because I like tried flexing it. And I'm like, oh, it is something there that where if you know it's like designed for that, you don't need to worry about it. But it is it like feels a little bit weird, right? Like it feels like you're gonna break it, but it's meant to do that.
Like there
But
is some
besides that,
wobble, you're saying. It's not like it feels like one piece when you have them connected.
yeah, like you know
Not
these
entirely.
like side pieces can like maybe come off, but that
But
is intentional.
clearly the
like, they
wobble is
want
way
that.
better than the first Switch, at least from what I've heard.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Okay, cool.
Like the magnets are perfect. I will say though, I'm like the exact opposite of Alex. And even if I was playing by myself, like I would be playing docked. Like I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not really playing this as much handheld. I have played it some like when we're just like watching TV and just like roaming around the free roam or whatever. But
Well, have you
most of
played
it-
anything else other than Mario Kart, by the way?
No, not really. No.
You're
I booted
just,
up
like,
a couple old
engrossed.
games just to see, but like nothing really stood out
Yeah.
to me.
Okay.
But yeah, Mario Kart World has been it. Like honestly, like I've had my Portal as my like portable device, and then having my Switch 2 as my dock, which is like really funny to think about.
Insane.
Wild.
Now that's manic behavior.
Yeah. Listen, Hollow Knight felt so good on Portal. It was great.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, and like for what it's worth, like for the folks that want more of a curvature and grip, there are a lot of those attachments that you can get for Switch. At least
That's
I know
true,
for
yeah.
Switch 1 they had it, and I assume they're gonna have them, or if not already, for the Switch 2. Is that something that either anyone on this pod, is anyone considering something like that? I assume this is more towards Alex and Tiffany, but
Nah, I think I'm okay.
Alex?
Yeah, I think for me the solution is just going to be moving to that docked play or at least tabletop
Okay.
play, and then using a like pro controller or something else. Because I think those third party solutions, while they solve like they fill the niche, I don't think they're going to be fully satisfying. Like, they're not going to be exactly what I want. But something
Okay.
like the Pro Controller is exactly what I want. So, like, there is a solution out there for me.
Yeah.
I just have to, like, change the way I play, right? Because obviously I can't, like, hold the device and then hold the, like, Pro Controller at the same time. You know, it's like, it's got to be docked or on the table.
But this is a
in some
change for
way.
you, right? Like, didn't you used to play docked more often in Switch One, or am I misremembering?
Yeah, so a majority, like I'd say like 99% of my Switch 1 play was
Yeah.
docked.
So
And
why the
now, and
change?
yeah, and obviously we're only a couple weeks into it, but I think it's that thing where I've like come to that point where I spend a lot of my like gaming time sitting at a desk, right? Like at this point, you know, all like I'm at a computer monitor, like I have my PC hooked up to, I have my console hooked up to it, and then
Mhm.
thinking about playing the Switch, I'm like, well, I feel like a lot of the games I do play on Switch, I don't necessarily need like a sit down experience, if you get what I mean. Like playing something like even Picross, you know, a puzzle game or a card game, right? Like in Wild Frost, I'm like, these are things I kind of want to just be a little bit more loosey goosey. And I feel like sitting on the couch, kind of like laying down, like in the supine position, like holding it
Yeah.
up, like in front of my
Yes.
face, like that stuff, it just feels like the right way to experience it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so just at this point, I've like happened to have most of my Switch 2 time like in handheld mode. So whether or not that
That makes sense to
extends
me.
into the future, yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
it's gonna last that the whole time. Because when I play something like Bonanza, like I'll be wanting to play that on the big screen. You know, like that's something I like. I need to see all the little particles flying around. I need to hear. Now I forget her name. What's her name? Pauline. I need
Pauline?
to hear Pauline's sweet singing voice. You know,
Oh
blasting
my
jazz tunes
God.
in my ears.
Jesus.
Yeah.
She's a jazz singer even as a child?
Yeah.
She sings everything. She's like
Oh.
a savant. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the direct. It sounds like I've missed out.
Don't worry. I'll be able to share the game with you after I buy it, but it'll be physically.
Okay.
All right, well, there you have it. We have our first impressions. It sounds like this is going to be kind of ongoing because obviously we're still very early on in the Switch 2. We've only played one or two games, it sounds like, each of y'all. So obviously there's still a lot to go as far as like, how does this console hold up? How do other games perform? How do other games utilize the power of the Switch 2? These are all questions that I don't think we can answer yet, right? Do you guys agree with that?
Right.
Yeah.
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 I'm waiting for Matt's Metroid Prime 4 review. You know,
Oh, I
how
can't
that
wait.
runs on
Well,
Switch
yeah,
2.
so that's kind of what I was getting at too is like I'm curious what gimmicks or other like features of the Switch 2 that we're going to actually start utilizing. Like for example, the whole mouse pad thing, right? With one of the Switch pads, it's not really
Yeah.
useful in Mario Kart.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see like are you going to want to use that element in Metroid Prime when that comes out or other games that come out later on this year? I'm curious, like how that kind of evolves and changes your impressions of the Switch 2 so far. Overall, let's give some final impressions on the Switch 2. What do you guys think? Do you guys think this is something that's like a must buy right now? Do you think it's going to be a must buy very soon? How would you explain it to someone else who's trying to convince themselves one way or the other, like me, whether or not they should get a Switch 2? I'll start with Matt.
As of right now, for many of us in this room that have Switch 1, right? I don't know if it's worth it right now. Because I think this is probably the most incremental change. Like this feels more like a Switch Pro. It's needed to be.
It does feel like a Switch Pro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say though,
Which I've wanted for a long time, by the
Yeah,
way. But
right.
keep going. Sorry.
I anticipate myself saying I highly recommend this holiday season when you have Bonanza, when you have Metro Prime 4, when you have Pokemon ZA, when you have Mario Kart World. Like having a library for games that will benefit from Switch 2, I would be like all about this. But honestly, only having Mario Kart World at this point, I don't know if I would absolutely recommend it unless you're like totally in for Mario Kart World, which I am. So like I am the person to get a benefit from this. Honestly, the best use case for this is my friend who did not have a Switch. He's having the time of his life right now. Like he is
Also
the past
true, yeah.
2 weeks, his whole world has opened up. So if that's you, go get it. But if not, I think it's fair to kind of wait until seeing, other games in the lineup to finally come to fruition, hopefully by holiday.
Honestly, that's a great call out, Matt, because that was something that I've actually told one of my other friends too. Is like I would have probably purchased it. I would say like 99% chance I would have purchased this if I didn't have a Switch
Yeah.
already,
Mm-hmm.
because then it would just
Yes.
like completely include a huge library of games that I've never played before and can't play. And you're also adding additional emulation with the GameCube. It would seem like a more complete package to me versus something that is more of an incremental upgrade, like you said, in comparison to what I already have with the OLED. So I think that's a really great point. Let's go with Tiffany next.
I would completely agree with Matt. If you skip the Switch 1 generation, go out and buy the Switch 2 like right now. Just like get it. It's would be perfect. You get so the library of games are massive. The Nintendo eShop still has all that shovelware on there. You could literally the world is your oyster. Get it now. If you had the Switch 1 and honestly, I also thought Mario Kart World was going to grab me more than it has. And it hasn't really like engaged me that much. I don't know if it's because of the timeline of where it fell. I'm gonna be honest, because I was just obsessed with other games more so than this.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think that like if you aren't that into Mario Kart, then you can absolutely wait. Absolutely just wait to get a Switch 2.
All
It
right,
is-
Alex, wrap us up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to pair at the same point, if you have a Portal, if you have a Steam Deck or Steam Deck equivalent, I think this is something you can hold off on for now. If you don't have any of those things, and also if you skip the Switch 1 in general, this is a must buy. Like, I think the price point is right for it. The functionalities, like, everything is there. They include everything in the box. Thank you for finally putting in an Ethernet port with the dock that you bundle with the console, Nintendo.
And don't forget
you.
about the Pringles can.
Yeah, for anything 2025. Thank you, Walmart, for the gamer fuel for when I played Mario Kart for 3 hours and then put it down for a while. But yeah,
You ran out
it's
of fuel.
definitely a good time. Yeah, it's definitely a good time for the people that don't have other options. But if you do have other options, like, hold off, because I think the software is coming. Like, Nintendo has shown, like, they have things
Software's always
cooking.
coming.
You just gotta wait for it.
Totally. And I think that is also a good point too, is that like the market is kind of saturated with these handhelds now, right? Like we have so many options in comparison to when the Switch 1 came out, where it was literally like just creating the market in a sense. There were options, but they weren't that good in
Trailblazer.
comparison to what we have today, right? We have so many options, from just like true portable handhelds like the Switch and the Steam Deck to the console or the machine that you guys have been talking about a lot with the PlayStation Portal. There's never been so many options than what we have today. So I definitely agree. If you have one of those options, it seems like a harder sell. But as we know, Nintendo is all about their incredible exclusives. So the more that we see of those, the easier the case will probably become. All right. Any final thoughts before we wrap up the Switch 2 episode?
Thank you for the folders, Nintendo. I love me some UI folders that PlayStation still doesn't want to give us.
Maybe one day. All right. Well, that's been it, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. This has been the Switch 2 episode. Feel free to ask us any questions or leave any comments. You can follow us on Twitter and email us on Gmail. And finally, thank you, Grandmaster Doug. It's been real. See y'all next time.
She sings everything. She's like a savant.
That was a photo version of perfection.